Okay, so we're going to start with a unit review for Unit 2, Part 1. I'm going to work through these. Take your time if you need to rewind and rewatch. That was fine. But if you have any questions, ask me in class. I'll be glad to help you. But use this to your advantage. All right. So for 1 through 6, if you look at your test review, we are solving for x. All right? So our first step is we draw that line. We need to get x by itself. So if we need to get this by itself, we're going to have to get rid of the 4. So we're going to do the opposite. And since it's being added, we're going to subtract it from both sides. 4 minus 4 gives us 0. That leaves us with x. And equal to negative 3 minus 4, and since it's the same sign, we're going to add them, and it's going to stay negative. So x is equal to negative 7. And since we have x by itself, that's our answer. All right, number 2, same process. We need to get x by itself. So in order to do that, our first step is going to be to add 2 to both sides. We've got to do the opposite of what's going on. So we're going to add 2. Negative 2 plus 2 gives us 0. Then we have the negative x, and it's equal to negative 2 plus 2 is 0. Now we have x by itself to an extent, but it has a negative in front of it. So we've got to get rid of that negative. To get rid of the negative, we have to divide by negative 1. That gets rid of our negative when we're left with x. 0 divided by negative 1 is 0. All right. Now, if you wanted to take and plug those answers back in, you could actually see that they're correct. If we plug negative 7 back in to x, we plug the negative 7 back in right here. 4 minus 7 is a negative 3, so that works. If we plug this 0 back in for x, negative 2 minus 0 is negative 2, so that works. You don't have to do that, but that will help you know that you got the correct answer. All right, so number 3, if we look at this, we have the same term on one side of our line. So we need to combine like terms first. So 2 plus 3 is 5x. We have the same terms on this side as well. So 10 plus 5 is 15. Now we need to get x by itself still. And to get x by itself, we're going to have to do the opposite of what's happening. It's being multiplied, so we need to divide. That gives us x is equal to 15 divided by 5 is 3. All right, number 4. Draw that line. We want to get x by itself. So first, there's something else going on. There's parentheses here. So we're going to have to take and distribute this 2 to everything that is in parentheses. So 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 3 is 6, and it's going to equal 4. We're not doing anything to that 4. All right, we still want to get x by itself. So the first thing that we're going to have to do is subtract 6. It's kind of like doing PEMDAS backwards. We're going to add and subtract first and then multiply or divide. Okay? So we have 2x. 6 minus 6 gives us 0. That's equal to 4 minus 6, which is negative 2. We still want to get x by itself. So if we do that, if we're multiplying, we're going to have to divide. When we divide, we get x is equal to 2 divided by 2, or negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. All right, number 5. Same process. We want to get x by itself, but we've got some things going on each side of our line. So we need to distribute this negative 3 over here, and then we need to combine like terms on this side. So negative 3 plus 3 is 0, and then negative 3 times x is negative 3x. Negative 3 times a positive 5 is a negative 15. All right, so if we want to get x by itself, we need to get rid of the 15. So to get rid of the 15, we're going to add 15 to both sides. We didn't need to do that. Let me rewrite this real quick. All right, there we go. To get rid of the 15, we're going to add 15 to both sides. So 0 plus 15 is 15. It is equal to negative 3x. And then negative 15 plus 15 gives us 0. Now we still need to get the x by itself. So we've got to do the opposite of what's happening. Since it's being multiplied, we're going to divide. 15 divided by negative 3 is a negative 5, and that's equal to x. Now again, you could take and plug the value back into your equation, and you could check and see if you're correct or not. All right, number 6. We want to get x by itself, but we have an x on each side, and we have multiple things going on. So we need to take care of that first. So on the left side, we need to take and distribute the negative 3. On the right side, we need to take and distribute 3. And then we'll add 3 at the end. So we get negative 3x minus 6 is equal to 3x minus 15 plus 3. Now, we still need to get the x by itself, but we need to combine like terms first. So we have negative 3x minus 6 is equal to 3x. Negative 15 plus 3 is negative 12. Now we can take and get x by itself. So I want to get both of those x's together, so I'm going to subtract 3x on both sides. Now be careful here because this is where people will get messed up. Negative 3 minus 3 is the same sign, so I'm going to add them. So that's a negative 6x. Minus 6 is equal to 3x minus 3x is 0, negative 12. My next step is still, I need to get x by itself, so my next step is going to be to add 6 to both sides. That's going to give me negative 6x. Negative 6x. Negative 6 plus 6 gives me 0. And then negative 12 plus 6 is a negative 6. Next, I'm going to divide by negative 6. When I do that, that cancels and leaves me with x is equal to, and a negative over a negative gives me a positive, and 6 over 6 is 1. All right, so that's solving out for x. We're just solving those. Now let's go on to the next ones. We're still solving, but these are inequalities. Okay? So remember, the only time everything's going to be the same, but we need to flip our sign if is being divided or multiplied by a negative. So, my first step, I need to combine like terms because I got something going on this side. So I have 5x is less than 15x plus 20. Now I want to get x by itself, so I'm going to have to combine what's on left and what's on right. Okay? So I'm going to subtract 15x from both sides. This is going to give me a negative 10x is less than a positive 20. All right, I still want to get the x by itself. So I need to divide by negative 10. All right, so that's going to give me x. And 20 divided by negative 10 is a negative 2. But since I divided by a negative, this sign has to go the other way. So since I divided by this, it flips to this. All right? So that's my answer for that one. Number 8. I'm wanting to get x by itself, but I've got several things going on. So on the left side, I need to distribute the 2 to everything that's in parentheses. So I get 2x plus 8 is greater than x minus 5. Now I need to get x by itself still, so I'm going to have to be combining some things. So I'm going to subtract x from both sides. All right? 2 minus 1 is x. And that's plus 8. It's going to be greater than negative 5. All right, I still want to get x by itself, so I need to get rid of that 8. In order to get rid of the 8, I got to do the opposite, which is subtract. So x, 8 minus 8 gives me 0, and it is less than negative 5 minus 8. They're the same sign, so I'm going to add them, and it's going to be 13. So x is greater than negative 13. All right, so number 9. I want to get x by itself. So I'm going to have to get rid of what's furthest from it, so the 5. So in order to get rid of the 5, I'm going to have to do the opposite, which is add. So I'm left with x over 4. Negative 5 plus 5 gives me 0. It's greater than negative 3 plus 5 is a positive 2. Now I need to get rid of the 4. In order to get rid of the 4, I need to do the opposite, which is, if I'm dividing, I'm going to multiply. So I'm going to multiply by 4 on both sides. Okay? So 4 cancel, and that leaves me with x, and it's going to stay greater than 2 times 4 is 8. All right, so that's how to solve an inequality. It's just like solving a regular equation, except when you're dividing by a negative, you're going to flip your sign. All right, let's go on to the word problem. It says, your cell phone plan allows you 300 minutes to talk per month. So far, you've used 155 minutes and you have 6 days left. Which inequality could you use to determine how many minutes at most you can use? So you know that you have 300 minutes a month. You know you can't use any more than that. So everything you use has to be less than 300. So 300 has to be your greatest number, or you can be equal to it. So 300 is greater than or equal to, and you've already used 155, and you have how many days left? You have 6 days left, so 6x. All right, so let's see which one matches that. We have 6x plus 155. So that looks good, but it is less than 300. It doesn't have the equal to, so that could not work. All right, B is 6x plus 155 is greater than. Well, we don't want to go over 300 minutes. We want to stay less because we're going to be paying more money if we don't. So we're going to leave it. We can't use that one. All right, C, we have 6x plus 155 is less than or equal to. So that is correct. We can use this one right here because we want it to stay less than. We don't want it to be greater than. And D says that the minutes that we use is greater than 300. We want to stay under 300. Okay? All right, number 11. Doug has 500 Hot Wheel cars. He wants at least 1,000 cars in his collection by the time he graduates. So if he wants at least 1,000, and we'll do 1,000 over here so it looks like our choices. He wants at least. That means 1,000 is the lowest. We're going to have something greater than or equal to 1,000. So he has 500 now, and he adds 4 Hot Wheels a week, so 4x. All right, so now let's find the one that represents this. If we look at these, we have 500 plus 4x is greater than or equal to. That one would work. 500 plus 4x is less than. That means at most we would have 1,000, and he wants at least. So he wants more than that. All right, C, 500 plus 4x is greater than 1,000. That would work. The only thing is he would like to have 1,000. If he can have more, that's good. But, so this one doesn't have the equal to, so we wouldn't use it. Then 500 plus 4x is less than. So we don't want less than 1,000. We want more than. So A is going to be our answer. All right. Let's move on. Number 12. We're filling in the equations with the properties. So our first thing to do is going to be to distribute what is going on this side. And if you want, you can take and draw a line down through here like this, okay? So we're going to use the distributive property first. So distributive. All right, when we use the distributive property, we're going to get 4x plus 2x plus 10, and that's equal to 22. Next, we need to combine like terms. So we have this right here going on. So since we're combining like terms, we're going to use the associative property. So combine like terms. All right, so when we do that, 4x plus 2x is 6x, plus 10 is equal to 22. Next, we want to get that 10 away from there, so we're going to have to subtract 10 from both sides. So we're going to do the subtraction property of equality. All right, so that's going to give us 6x is equal to 12. Now, to get x by itself, we're going to have to divide both sides by 6. So we're going to use the division property. So when we divide by 6, that gives us x, and 12 divided by 6 is 2. And we're finished with that one. All right, number 13, same thing. You want to draw that little line down through there so that helps you know what side is what. All right, our first step, we're going to have to distribute to everything that's inside the parentheses. So we're going to use distributive properties. And I'm just going to shorten these. You can write these on out. All right, so when we distribute, we have 2x plus, that's positive 2 times a negative 3 is a negative 6x. Positive 2 times a positive 4 is a positive 8. And that's equal to 3x minus 7. Now we need to combine like terms. So we're going to use the associative property. Which is combining like terms. All right, so when we combine like terms, we get negative 4x plus 8 is equal to 3x minus 7. Now I want to get both of my x's on the same side, so I'm going to use the subtraction property. I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. So I'm going to use subtraction property of equality. When I do that, I get negative 7x plus 8 is equal to 3 minus 3 cancels and negative 7. Now I need to get rid of the 8, so I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides. So again, the subtraction property of equality. Whenever I do that, I have negative 7x is equal to negative 15. Now I want to get x by itself, so I'm going to have to divide by a negative 7. So I'm doing the division property. All right, so when I divide, this is going to cancel, and I'm left with x. Negative over negative gives me a positive, and 15 over 7 doesn't simplify, so that stays my answer. All right. Now we're going to solve the literal equations for the number that's indicated, or the variable that's indicated. So we're solving out on this one for m. So our first step is going to be to subtract b from both sides. So when we do that, we have y minus b is equal to mx. We still want to get m by itself. So in order to do that, we're going to have to divide by x. So m is equal to y minus b over x. All right, number 15, solve for w. So we're going to solve for that. Now to get rid, we have 9w equal to 4x. So to solve for the w, we've got to get rid of 9. To do the opposite, we're going to divide by 9. When we do that, we're left with w is equal to 4x over 9. All right, the next one. Solve for t in the equation. So we have negative 9 is equal to t plus 4x. So we're going to solve for the t. So in order to get t by itself, we need to subtract 4x from both sides. I can't combine those because they don't have like terms. So negative 4x minus 9 is equal to t. And that's my answer. All right, number 17. I'm solving for x. So I'm going to add or subtract 2y from both sides. This gives me a negative 3x. 2y minus 2y is 0. Then I have 12 minus 2y. I can't combine those, so I'm going to do negative 2y plus 12. Now, if you write it 12 minus 2y, it's the same thing. Still need to get x by itself, so I'm going to divide by negative 3. All right, so that gives me x, and that's going to be equal to a negative and a negative. A positive, but 2/3 does not simplify. So 2/3 y, positive and a negative, give me a negative. 12 divided by 3 is 4. All right, number 18. We are solving for a. So it is right here. And this is t squared in case you can't tell. It's on your paper, so you should be able to see. And this is a 2. All right, so I need to get rid of the fraction first. And in order to do that, I'm going to have to multiply by 2. When I multiply by 2, I get 2x is equal to a t squared. Now, I'm wanting to get a by itself. So to get the t away from the a, I'm going to have to divide by t squared. Okay? Now, that's going to give me a is equal to 2x over t squared. And I have a by itself, so I'm finished. All right, so I'm going to stop the video here. This will be the first half of it. And then practice this a couple times. Look at it as many times as you need to. But if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me, and I will be glad to help you.